All right. Welcome to Facts, Figures, and Fallacies from the Frontline podcast. I'm your host, Nick Grantham. I'm joined by Mitzi Sullivan and her favorite nephew, Tyler Randolph of Ramrado podcast. He is the GM of Pegasus, CDJR in Ennis, Texas. And today we're diving into some of the awesome new tax benefits there are, such as the 100% bonus depreciation. We're going to talk about the EV credits phasing out. We're going to talk about leasing versus renting and the impact of tariffs. And then Tyler is going to give us a lot of good info about what he's doing and what he's seeing in that industry as well. So without further ado, Tyler, how's it going?
Good. And my name sums it up. Mitzi's favorite nephew. Always growing up, I was the favorite one. I hope my cousins are watching so that they can know the true facts. This is coming from Mitzi, not me. So she typed in my name.
Nice. I believe it. That's awesome. So you've been the GM at the dealership for how long now?
It was a year in May.
Nice. How are you liking that?
It's good. I worked for Honda for 10 years. It's vastly different in this brand, going from, cars and SUVs to SUVs and trucks. But it's a good brand. I've enjoyed it. The group is really good. It's Gilchrist Automotive. I have some of my old coworkers that work within the group, but it's been great.
So what do you drive? What vehicle?
I drive as a demo, I drive a 2500 Ram 2500 and a Rebel trim. So it's a diesel truck. And then I also leased an EV Charger as well. It was a deal too good to pass up. They had a special for employees. So as another car, it's a lot of fun. I was skeptical, but I've enjoyed it.
Nice.
What do you drive?
I drive a Ford. I'm sorry, but
well, that's all for me.
But my wife actually bought her vehicle from your father. So
that's right. It's a Hyundai.
Yep.
I know my Uncle Tim. He drives Rams for the longest time. So that's good.
I know Tim. He raves about Rams. Yeah. So he says they're the best trucks out there.
Himmy man.
Well, and speaking of Ram trucks, so Nick, you want to tell us if you buy a Ram truck that qualifies for the bonus depreciation, what that looks like on your tax return?
Yeah, so I'll quickly describe or explain that. So for those who don't know, bonus depreciation is basically where when you have a business of your own and you're self-employed and you buy equipment, or in this case, a truck, as long as the truck qualifies, which would generally mean that its gross weight is 6,000 pounds or more, then we can actually write all of it off in the year that you purchase it. So what that means is even if you go out and put a, $1,000 down payment down and you finance the rest of it, you can still write off all of that right now in this current year. And so the bonus depreciation was phasing out. And now with the new big, beautiful bill that's passed, that's gone back to 100%, meaning, like, for example, if you have a business, you go out and buy a truck, you can write off all of it now, and you can basically save tax in whatever marginal tax bracket you're in. So like I was meeting with a client yesterday who is doing great in her business, and she was up to that top tax bracket of 37%. And so like in her case, for example, if she went out and bought a new truck, she's getting it 37% off effectively, because that she's saving 37% in tax with that deduction. And with some people, it could be even more, if it's subject to also the self-employment tax and things like that. So anyway, the bonus depreciation is huge for business owners. And so, yeah, that's why purchasing a truck can potentially be a great investment.
There we go.
And Tyler, what's an average truck? Say, is it a 1500 or yeah?
So the half ton and the 1500. So they'll weigh over 6,000.
And what's the average sticker price on that?
Before rebates, you're looking at probably our most common is probably around 62, 63,000. That's in a Lone Star, but they range anywhere from like a quad cab from 42 all the way up to a $93,000 truck.
So potentially $100,000 tax deduction in 2025.
And you go into heavy duty, a 3/4 ton, you won't have any issues doing that. We have a lot of businesses, October, November, and December. That usually November, December. It's a lot of businesses coming in to buy some trucks.
Yeah.
And you said you also lease a EV charger, so that's another topic that we wanted to talk about. Is the EV charger the only vehicle that you sell at your dealership that would qualify for the $7,500 electric vehicle tax credit?
We also have the Wagoneer S, which is an electric Wagoneer. It's a 2-row SUV.
Okay. I didn't realize those.
Starting price of
62,000.
So that would qualify. So the nice thing about these electric vehicles, before September 30th, the EV credit expires. I think that was just a jab at Elon, but it expires September 30th. You've got about 2.5 months. You buy that electric vehicle. If it's your business use vehicle, you can write off the entire amount in 2025 and get a $7,500 tax credit. That's a $7,500 almost cash to be applied to any tax liability that you have in 2025. But you've only got about 2.5 months to do it, so you might want to call Tyler.
Yes. I'm ready and waiting. Huh? Yes.
And you do have to take delivery before September 30th.
Yes, ma'am.
So what do you think about the electric vehicles? We hear a lot of positives and negatives.
Well, I live in a blue collar town, and there a lot of gasoline through and through, but there is a market for it. Stellantis is trying to get into that market a lot more. They did, and their approach in that was rolling out getting rid of the gas engine and the Charger and the Challenger, and only bringing it back for 2-year models in the electric. So they're committed. They want to do that. They just announced, and we have some orders out for an actual hybrid vehicle in the Cherokee. So they're getting into a lot of that space. The Cherokee, which the sub below the Grand Cherokee, it's coming back, and it's coming into a hybrid. I know it's not an electric, but the fully electric, but the manufacturer is most certainly looking to push that envelope.
What is that Wagoneer? What reviews have you had on that? Do people like it?
Yeah, both of these
cars.
cars.
What's the range on it?
That one is just over 300. Upper 2s, lower 3. So a lot of it you train it and how you drive, it'll adapt. And it recommends you do an 80% max charge on it, where you charge it up to 80% to prolong the battery. But if you lease it, it's you're going to turn it in 2 or 3 years. More times than not, with the Stellantis, 2 years is where a lot of times that best deal is on a 2-year lease. So.
All right, Nick, you want to talk about the tariffs that have gone into effect, and then Tyler, you could tell us what that's doing to Stellantis, and kind of give us your opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're kind of all over the place, right? They're 1 week it's one rate, and then so I guess Trump's trying to make some deals with countries and whatnot. But Tyler, have you noticed yet much of an impact from those tariffs?
Yeah, the part of the thing is they preemptively saw a lot of this coming down the pipe. So the manufacturers and Stellantis in particular, they're trying to retool a factory to where they can produce more of it in the Detroit area. But right now there's one model that has been affected primarily, and really you can still get that car, the Compass, but you have to get it equipped in a very specific way where it's manufactured here in the United States. So the $36,000 Compass, I'm not ordering any of those. That's the price point for that car. It's just too much. But yeah, manufacturers taking strides to get it to where it will make sense.
So has that been a significant obstacle for the automotive industry, or you haven't really noticed it? Increases
Not quite
in
yet.
prices?
Yeah, I mean, there's been the plants have slowed down, and the inventory is had a kind of a stall. It's much different in 24 in the beginning, where we were getting all the Stellantis dealers were getting overwhelmed with inventory, and now it's back to where it's a little more difficult, and it's a lot slower trickle. It has to do more with the allocation that you're provided, but it to be honest, it's not taking a huge impact, at least yet. So that's good.
No
Right.
price increases?
Some of the shipping and handling is the destination and handling. I've seen a couple that they've increased by a couple $100, like $200. I had 2 Grand Cherokees that I was comparing that they had a $200 same exact sticker difference just from the destination and handling.
So not too significant.
No, ma'am.
More of an inconvenience.
Yes. Yeah. Right now. Yeah.
And so, do we think, like, obviously moving forward, we'll start to see more impact of that? Because I do think there's where I see that there is a 25% tariff that now applies to imported vehicles and auto parts, and that includes Mexico, Canada, Europe, and Asia. So I guess here, maybe in the next few months or next couple of years, even maybe we're expecting to see like raw materials and stuff rise, making the vehicles a little bit more expensive.
Well, just like in any corporation and company, they figure out how to get creative. So I imagine there will be some of that creativity in there.
Yeah.
So right now, like in referencing, they're retooling that factory in Michigan to where they can handle a lot of the 1500 production, because some of that was coming from Mexico, and the heavy duties in particular, there was a lot of them that were coming out through Mexico as well. So, but they're just trying to get it to where they can reconfigure their plant to be able to produce it there. But
Do you feel like it may have an impact on American manufacturing? Do you feel like we will pull more of that manufacturing into the U.S.?
oh, no doubt. USMCA. So USMCA compliant vehicles and parts would allow Stellantis to effectively manage the tariff impact on non-compliant parts. So our manufacturer sent out talking points like right from the jump when this was all starting to go down to discuss with the consumer, like so like one of the statements, we understand that President Trump wants to drive more investment into the US, and we are fully supportive, but the industry needs time to implement those changes. In the meantime, auto products that meet the extremely high standards of President Trump's USMCA should not be hit with tariffs.
Yeah, I think it's Mexico, Canada, Europe, and Asia.
Yep. So Stellantis had made significant investments in our production and sourcing to ensure that all Stellantis vehicles produced in North America qualify for USMCA, which the USMCA exempting it from the heavy tariff because North America.
But still, so then we won't end up with the tariffs specifically raising prices, but more manufacturing in the United States.
That's right.
Well, that's a good thing.
Well, I think that based off of this last run is that I think he took that away. I have to do a little more research on that, but I think blanket statement is it's all getting tariffed. So what Stellantis is frustrated about, yes, they want the jobs to come into the United States, but they made investments in tooling, and I think that's like where, hey, a portion of it is still manufactured in the United States and allowing for that. But a growing share of the auto parts also of auto parts also do not meet USMCA. However, exempting USMCA compliant vehicles and parts would allow Stellantis to effectively manage the tariff impact on.
Right. So kind of what you were talking about. There's always some creativity that you can do to. So probably we won't see a significant increase in vehicle prices. Not a 25% increase, certainly.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. But possibly some more manufacturing in the U.S., more jobs,
yeah.
more raw materials.
I do see at some point. I do see at some point where there is going to be a slowdown because of the retooling, a slowdown on the products getting to us. But we're in a brand where they want a majority of the consumers want the jobs in the United States too. So there's an understanding.
Cool.
Nick, you want to talk about lease versus buying? Tyler said he was leasing the Charger.
Mm-hmm.
Can you share what your monthly payments are on the lease? Well, I guess you got a different price range. Average monthly payments.
Mine was hard to pass up. I literally pay $100 a month.
Oh wow!
And I put $100.
Is there an ANT deal for that? Do you have an ANT promotion?
I do. Ants. I think ants do qualify through the dealer employee, but we had coupons that they had released. So dealer employees, they had dropped 4,000 additional rebate incentive for an employee, and then you got a designated price. And we put ours in loaner service, so the manufacturer gave another. On this car, it was $3,500 in savings, so it was $100 down, and I paid $100 a month. Now that's not an everyday deal. So it was just too much. It was too easy. It was too hard to pass out. So
and it drives just like the old Charger or faster.
Oh, it's fast. It is. It's different, and it is actually faster. I have a Scat Pack, which they only do the RT and the Scat Pack now. But I did lease the Scat Pack, and it's dangerously fast. All-wheel drive. It is very, very fast. It's even got a little button at the bottom. It's like on the movies that you see where it says "Do not press." That's what they should put there, because no matter what, you're going to press it anyways. But it's a power shot. Launched my head back into the seat. Yeah, it was a little nerve-wracking. I might have peed a little, but
wow.
What's the range on that one?
That one is it'll train properly and the driving habits, it'll get to around 240. But mine usually at 100% charge, it's 225, 230.
Nice.
It could maybe get to 250.
Do you charge in your garage?
So the manufacturer Stellantis gave a choice of a level 2 charger for free. You just got to get it installed, or they give you $600 in credits. Now they're doing something a little different, but all the way up till last month, they did that. So I took the $600 in credit, and we have right next door, there is a fast charging, a level 3, that I can use my credits to charge there. So.
And how often do you have to charge it typically?
It's about once a week. So 1.5, 2 times maybe a week, depending on driving, but living where I'm at, and I will alternate back and forth between my demo and that car too. So.
Right. Is there a maintenance difference between the EVs and?
Oh yeah,
is it
of course.
Significantly more expensive, less expensive?
On maintenance? No, it's less expensive, definitely. You're not changing the oil. It's wiper blades, wiper fluid, checking on your brakes, your brake pads, tires. The tires will wear out on an electric vehicle a little quicker. It's heavier.
Burning rubber when you're taking off so fast.
It's part of that. It's that, but it's also a much heavier vehicle too. So it wears it a little quicker.
So I keep trying to talk myself out of an electric vehicle, but what's the negative?
It's a
range
statement.
is not an issue for me.
Yeah, it's a big stigma, and it's the same way. And I grew up in a town where you went to the oil field, college, or the military a lot of times.
Bridgeport,
Um,
Texas.
yeah, old Bridgeport, Texas. Um, but it is a big stigma. I always equate it to when I used to sell televisions, and people said, "I'm not going to buy a plasma television; they all burn in." And the technology has gotten better. The way that they build these cars has gotten better. The efficiency and the savings that you get. Um, I mean, it makes sense.
I
So
think Mitzi's biggest pro is not having to go to a gas station, right?
No pumping gas. That's why I want the car.
well, you come up to if you want to swing by the store one day, I'll let you drive one. So I have one more Charger left, and then I have two Wagoneer S's. I'll work you up a deal. Don't worry.
The Wagoneer
Wagoneer.
would be cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's 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 really nice. Even on the limited, they have limited and the launch edition, but the limited, it's fast and it's got a ton of really good technology in it. Um, but the that one's closer to 300 miles range on it. One of my salesmen, he bought his wife, leased his wife one as well.
Nice.
Is the you said the maintenance is less expensive. What about the longevity?
Oh, I would recommend leasing it. If you do, or when you do, they have a warranty that's on the battery. Um, but if you do have to replace that battery, obviously that's quite the expense. And on a lot of these electric cars, some of the parts, it's not as a frequent a vehicle. Some of the parts may be a little bit further out as far as getting them, like body panels on these newer models, which that's only if you're going to get into an accident. But there's a little less frequency with them. But maintenance, I mean, you don't have the oil change or anything like that. It's just keeping up with the brakes, wiper blades, some of the fluids, but you have a lot less fluid in that too.
So if I get 300,000 miles on a typical car, because I do, what would I get on an EV?
I don't. You're gonna squeeze every penny out of what you got. I know that. Yes.
How many miles would I get on that Wagoneer?
Well, they hadn't been out long enough for someone to put 300,000 miles on it. So
Right.
they came out, the Wagoneer S came out in 2024. It didn't have quite the launch that they were expecting, but it's picked up some traction. And for some reason, that the stigma or whatever it is, that they're not taking off like they want them to. They're a great car. I can be a good testament to it. I've driven gas vehicles all my life and been around the oil industry my whole life. My brother's in the oil industry. But I can be a good testament to that. It's a good car. It really is.
All right.
And it's
I may
fun.
have to come up and test drive one. So let's talk about lease versus buy. So I mentioned I'm going to put 300,000 miles on a car. You know I'm going to buy it. We have clients ask us this question every single time they come in and they're shopping for a new car. Should I lease? Should I buy? Should I lease? Should I buy? From an automotive person's perspective, what do you say?
This is my first lease. I'm very real with my customers, and I'm very straightforward. Like I'll tell them, hey, I don't lease, but it doesn't make sense in my scenario. In this scenario, I am, but previously I never leased. But it's all custom to what you're looking for. Like if you trade your car in before you pay it off, you're essentially leasing a car. You don't really own that vehicle until you pay it off. So I tell customer, they come in 3 years, and then I show them a lease that's got a good payment, and they're like, oh, I'm not leasing. Well, unfortunately you really just leased your vehicle, and you paid more for it, unfortunately. But if a lot of folks, that if you enjoy a newer car, you stay under the manufacturer's warranty. The primary lease that's done is a 12,000 mile a year lease. Most, if not all, manufacturers have a 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty, straight from the factory. So you're leasing and you're making payments on that car while it's under manufacturer's warranty. It's just about keeping up with the maintenance. Typically, I'd say probably 8, 9 times out of 10, it's a cheaper payment. I've seen people do 20,000 mile a year leases. I've seen 25,000 mile a year leases, but that's usually with the intent that, hey, I only need this vehicle for X amount of time. So if you set up on a lease 20,000 miles a year, the manufacturer has a book or a residual guide that tells you, hey, this is what that car is worth, what we estimate it to worth, and we call it a guaranteed lease in value or residual. This is what that car is going to be worth. Who knows what it's actually worth in 3 years with 48 or 60,000 miles on it? But people who are like, well, I'm going to use this vehicle for 3 years. I'm going to drive 20,000 miles a year, and they do that lease. If they stay under that 60, they pay a $395 turn-in fee as long as the vehicle is kept in good condition with some allotted amount in repairs. You can walk away from it.
Right.
So Tyler, what happens if somebody goes over, like if they lease, but they go over the annual mileage limit?
It depends on this. So there's four things you can do at the end of it. You can buy out that lease, you can turn it in, you can trade it in, or you can even sell it. So more times than not, another customer, when you're done at the end of that lease and you go over the miles, more times than not, you're going to want another car. You're going to need another car. Depends on the direction you go. So you could trade it in, and then at that point, it's, hey, your residual is X. What is the actual value on it? And that factors into what your new payment will be. But say you just turn it in and you're over on the miles, then depending on the price point of the car, it's anywhere from 20 to 30 cents a mile for every mile that you go over.
Okay.
Majority of customers aren't turning in a vehicle. Usually they're trading it in and just leasing another one.
Are your residual values typically lower than fair market value? So if I leased a car and you told me my residual in 3 years was going to be $20,000 because of the way inflation is going, because of the tariffs and just the automotive industry in general, my car may be worth $30,000, right?
Yep. I'd say they stay flush. It usually is pretty flush. I came from the manufacturer Honda. A lot of their residual values, they had the beauty of pretty standard higher 50s at 36 month, 12 residuals, but it stays pretty consistent value versus that. Depending on also how well you took care of it. If you're appraising that car as it sits, that could be factored into the residual, because it could be under your 36,000 miles or your mileage allotment, but you just dog
Is the residual set when you lease the vehicle?
Yes,
or
ma'am.
does it fluctuate?
It's set. It's listed on the contract at the time of lease.
And then as far as maintenance goes, you really wouldn't have any maintenance on a 3-year lease, especially if you had an EV.
Well, yeah, you would have your oil changes and tire rotations, some cabin air filters, things like that, depending on the different increments. There's still a lot of people that do 10,000 miles a year as well. So you have less. You do a 4-year lease. If someone does that, you may be approaching replacing tires, something along those lines too. But yeah, on a gas rig, you're still going to have your normal maintenance that you got to do. And that's part of the contract too, is just keeping up with the car as if it was truly you owned it.
Right. So Nick, you want to go over just some of from an accounting perspective, some of the pros and cons, buy versus lease?
Yeah. So I guess, I'll start with pros of leasing. So what's nice about a lease is, like, when you're paying the monthly payment, all of that is deductible, right? Whereas when you buy a car, it's nice up front because you get, like we talked about, that bonus depreciation on the purchase price. But then for the next few years, as you're paying that monthly payment, you're just paying that principal that you've already depreciated. So you can only take interest, and that's, not going to be as much of a deduction in those later years. So I would say a pro of leasing is just you're kind of spreading. For some people, it's a pro to spread that out, and you're getting a little bit maybe more of a deduction over time. We talked about lower payments generally, so that's nice.
Yep.
Just usually the payments are lower. I guess another pro can just be for people, like you said, who like to have a newer vehicle every few years. That's a good way of kind of staying in a new vehicle. Maybe if you're not super handy, like I'm not super into doing like work on my car. So for me, actually, it would be nice because it's like generally I'm probably going to be in a newer vehicle. I'm not going to have to deal with a ton of maintenance myself. So those would be, I'd say, some pros of leasing. And then from a buying perspective, I would say the pros would be you get to accelerate that deduction. So if I buy a car, I can potentially do that bonus depreciation and write all that off now. So the good thing is I'm getting a huge deduction this year. The negative is in the next subsequent, few years, that deduction is much, much smaller. So that's a pro or a con depending on your situation. um, I guess the other good thing is for people who drive a lot of miles, leasing can be tough because you have those mileage
Yeah.
apps like you talked about. So somebody who's like, we have a lot of clients who drive 50,000 miles a year or more, and so for people like that, a lot of times buying a car is going to probably make more sense, I would think. Um, yeah, and then let's see. I guess another thing to mention is if you have an older vehicle, so maybe you buy a used car and it's pretty cheap. Well, you can actually take the standard mileage deduction instead of the actual method. And so that can be potentially better for somebody who has a less expensive vehicle that drives a lot of miles. So then you're just doing 70 cents per business mile as a deduction. So if you drive like 50,000 miles in like a cheap car, you're multiplying 70 cents times 50,000 miles, and that's a $35,000 write-off, for example. So I'd say those are kind of some of the pros of leasing, and then the pros of buying.
And I'll say too, we've done this calculation and it depends on everybody's situation. So when somebody says, should I rent or should I buy? We always say, well, it depends, the typical accounting answer. But we really do, it really does depend on your specific situation. So Nick and I have done this calculation for our clients. I can't count the number of times. And typically, probably 95% of the time, the buying the vehicle is the most cost effective.
To be honest, however you want to buy it, just come buy
We
it.
don't care. Just call Tyler.
Yeah. Cash, check, lease, buy. Just buy it from me.
That's
There you
right.
go.
And you won't find a friendlier, more knowledgeable person to buy a vehicle from. He'll stand behind it.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, that's sweet of you. Are you just saying that because I'm your nephew? Okay. I mean, sorry, your favorite nephew.
Your favorite nephew. And,
Yes.
and Kyle is too. And so is Aaron.
Well, Tyler, is there anything else you'd like to add? Would you like to let everyone know where they can find you one more time, and maybe anything you guys are doing over the next few months? Any good sales or promotions you guys have coming up?
Yeah. Well, I got a question. What's it like working with my aunt?
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Once this recording's over, we can talk more if you want. It's okay. I'll be your ear.
No, I mean, honestly, she's super knowledgeable. I've learned a lot over the years. Yeah, and we have a good time. I would say what I like about where we're at too is we have a lot of clients who have their own businesses, and so especially out kind of on the edge of the Metroplex, we have a lot of like ranchers, oil, business folks, all kinds of different industries, and so we get to see, I would say, a little bit of everything. So I really enjoy that because it's like, it's not like the same monotonous type of tasks. Like we're seeing all kinds of different businesses with different strategies. And yeah, so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Ellis County reminds me a lot of Wise County. Ellis County reminds me of Wise County.
Yeah.
It's very similar. So it's got its high populace. Like Decatur is kind of like Decatur and Waxahachie is kind of like I guess just Ennis and Waxahachie is kind of like, well, just Decatur. Bridgeport was not as big. I guess it's growing, but
Oh yeah.
all its little outskirting communities, Alvord, Paradise, all those small areas too. So
Yeah, it's growing like crazy. I mean, they're building apartments and all kinds and housing and all kinds of stuff out Decatur.
Yeah.
Question for you.
Yeah.
As far as online sales go, are you seeing that? Do you guys do where you can go on, build your truck, push a button, buy the car? Is that picking up for you, or are most of your sales in person?
Yeah. Especially out here, it's a lot of it's relationship, but building and buying, and our manufacturer's not quite there. They tried that with the launch of the Wagoneer S, some of that, doing some pre-orders and pre-sales, but more times than not, the customer wants to come in either one to negotiate or two to be more selective and find it. But as far as just buy, pick up, and customize, you have the capability of doing it. I just still think it's not quite there yet. So you can build a deal on a website. The car, like you can calculate my payment, show your down payment, estimates the interest based off of the criteria you give. So much of it, if not all of it, in certain scenarios can be done online. And we do a lot of remote deals, us being out here on the outskirts of DFW. We do a lot of remote deals where we sign them, we deliver it to them, bring the paperwork to their doorstep, do all of that.
Nice. Okay, so we'll put the link to your website in our description.
Okay.
And we'll put your phone number in there. People can give you a call.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah, and we're right off of 45. We got a new building, I-45 in Ennis, Texas. We got a new building that's coming right next door. Big, beautiful new facility. So y'all seen the facility Carl Clement there in Decatur, right? That CDJR. Ours will look like that one. It will be designed like that. We're right off I-45 in Ennis, Texas. 305 South I-45, Ennis, Texas 75119. Where you go, it's just a pile of dirt with some concrete getting poured. You just go in the next building over. That's where we are. There's a funny video where I'm telling where folks can find me in my spot, just the next entrance down. But yep.
Hey, and what's your podcast? Ramrado?
Ramrado. Yeah.
That's a YouTube at Ramrado?
Yes, ma'am. YouTube at Ramrado. It's Ram and Silverado. So me, the GM next door, he's the GM of the Chevrolet dealership, the Pegasus Chevrolet here in Ennis. We collaborate a lot and we work together a lot. So just trying to grow the community and connect with the community in this area a lot more, bring some of the business owners, and kind of interesting and chatting with other business owners within our community too. We interviewed the owner of a local restaurant that is a big hit in this town. And we brought on, one of our guests was the marketing coordinator for the city of Ennis too. So just trying to grow that piece of it. And connect more with our community and have some fun while we do it. If you watch, we have a lot of goofs and a lot of fun when we do our podcast. Make sure you click subscribe and follow and like at Ramrado. There we are.
Nice. So cool. Well, it was awesome learning more about all this going on, and yeah, it was awesome talking to you.
Yep. Feel free. Have anyone that has a question. I tell my family and friends, even if you don't buy a car from me, I'm at least happy to help. I provide a lot of knowledge when it comes to the finance side of it. I spent 8 years in the finance background of the automotive industry. So I have a lot of that history. So that's where I can bring a lot of help and insight in the best approach in that. But my wife's friends will call me when they're looking at another brand because they know that I just know this industry. I'm happy to help. It's just part of it. I will tell you, Nick, there's not many with the hustle that my aunt has.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Did she ever tell you about how she challenged us all the time in basketball? One of the most competitive women I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, I always tell Sarah, Mitzi doesn't do anything halfway.
Nope.
Always 100%, whatever you decide to put your mind on. So that's a good thing.
Yep. That's how I am too. That we were just talking. I've been diving all over the field playing softball with our softball team, us and next door, and Like I this morning I got big old strawberry on my shin from sliding. My shoulders are hurting from diving. My aunt was the same way. She didn't care. She'd get all up in it, whatever it took.
Nice.
Super
And who won
competitive.
those games, Tyler?
It was mostly us.
That's the
No,
opposite
She
of what I.
always has a
basketball.
different perspective on this story.
It is funny
We
because
beat
I've
her, and then the next time she talks about it, like we could beat her, and the next time she's like, "You remember when I smashed you? Like when I beat up on y'all on that? Like, what are you talking about?" Ping pong, she is dadgum good at too. So
oh
she
yeah,
did whoop up on me in some ping pong quite a few times.
yeah, I'm terrible at ping pong. So.
Yeah. When I started growing taller than her, basketball wasn't something that she wanted to play us anymore.
That's when I quit playing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she used to dominate us, and then by the time I was probably 5th, 6th grade, when I started to sprout, I could block her shot. She was like, "Yeah, I'm tired of whipping up on y'all. I just don't want to embarrass you, so I'm not gonna play." Oh, okay.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
All right, Tyler. Well, we'll let you go. Get back to work. Go sell some cars.
I shall send them my way. Thank
I
y'all.
will.
Good
Thank
luck
you.
to you.
Yeah.
All right. Bye bye.
See you.
See ya.